figure it out.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I wanted to go over a couple of things that, starting off with purchase orders. Okay, so I have a meeting Friday for House Call Pros. Hopefully they're supposed to have all of our pricing in there and all that good stuff and all of our invoices in there by then. So I'll know more for sure by then, but basically I wanted to talk about purchase orders because the way we put purchase orders in is going to be really important for going forward, because some of you guys are not even putting purchase orders in. You're just taking the easy route and turning your invoices in, and then I got to put all of those in. Okay, so on your commission paperwork you may have all of that added up, but I've got to take the invoices. Every time I get an invoice that it's not in a purchase order, it's easy for me to check it because I can just go in and to the job and check that the purchase order's in. But if it's not in, I've got to input every single one of those, and I'm doing that while I'm trying to do payroll. So that's like my first step. That can take anywhere from a half an hour to 2 hours, because sometimes I get just a ton of invoices and I'm putting them all in, and I have to put them in. It takes me probably just as long as it takes you guys to put them in, but I'm now doing all of them at one time for the week, whoever has to put them in. So it's really time consuming and tedious. So I'd appreciate it if you'd put them in, number one. Now, if you're unable to put them in, then you can always call dispatch and just have dispatch put them in for you. Say, hey, I'm on this job for John Smith. I just bought something. Home Depot are the biggest ones. We're missing receipts for tons of Home Depots. To get receipts from Home Depot, I gotta go down to Home Depot with the credit card, stand in line, and wait for them to print every single one. I gotta give them all the charge amounts, and give my credit card number and all that, and I gotta wait there for probably an hour. And so if I have to do that for every damn week, it's gonna take a lot of time, a lot of energy, and then, I don't know if those are in the system or not half the time. Okay? So I need to make sure, especially Home Depot, but all of them, either you put the purchase orders in yourself, or you can call dispatch and ask them to put the purchase order in for you. Give them a dollar amount, make sure the dollar amount's correct, make sure you give them the right job number or job name. Because if you're on a job today, it's right there on the board, they can just click on it, and it's pretty easy for them to put it in there on a computer. It might be faster than what you have to do on your iPad, but I need to make sure they're getting put in, because it's really becoming a problem, especially the Home Depot ones. Those are really, probably 70% of them are Home Depot. Okay? All right, so if you guys, if you can't get a hold of dispatch, okay, and you need to put a purchase order in, maybe for some reason your iPad doesn't have a signal where you're at, whatever the heck the case may be, you can always text me or Tina the job number and the amount for the PO, and then Home Depot, Ferguson, whatever it is, if you guys need us to put it in. We'll do it that way. I'd rather do it one at a time throughout the week here and there than trying to put them all in at one time on payroll day. Because payroll day is the first part of my morning is just getting everything kind of organized and getting all your sheets in the right order. I put them by date, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the way down. But I have to check all your purchase orders first and check all the amounts, make sure they've been paid. There's all kinds of stuff I have to do for payroll. For those of you who have been here a while, when Karina and Carla were here, we lost, obviously, both people. We have neither one of them here, and we're doing all their work, Tina and I, plus our normal stuff. So adding in having to do purchase orders makes it a lot more difficult and a lot more challenging. Okay, so I wanted to throw that part in there. For the air conditioning people, I wanted to talk about really a couple of things from the Mana trip today, because I got a lot of information there. So, any of you guys have any idea when Amana first started in the U.S.?
61? 1824.
1934.
34. Hey, 34, sorry.
1934.
Wow.
They were actually around before that in Germany in the 1800s, 1850s.
You guys did.
Okay? But then Amana basically kind of, they started doing...
Someone does the research.
Yeah, they started. The founder of his was from Germany, and he basically the first radar range or microwave was Amana, and that was in 1967. They started doing air conditioning units in the early 50s. So basically, what happened with Amana though, because Amana's name, if you ask a lot of people. Like 50% of people, once you mention the name Amana, will recognize the name, especially older people, right? Like myself, in their 30s, late 30s and up. Just the name from something, because there's been a lot of Amana products out there over the years. But what happened with Amana is they got bought out by Goodman in the late 90s. Then they went to Maytag. Then they went to Whirlpool. There's a lot of changes in those companies as they went. And then only in 2012 did Daikin buy the rights to Amana. Okay? So Amana is still around and it's still a brand. They basically are produced in Texas near Houston, where I was at. And like I said, they build everything from even the sheet metal. They manufacture the cabinets and everything there right in the warehouse. Huge, like I said, they invested $500 million in this building. It's just humongous. And I think it's $500 million. It's the third largest tilt wall building in the world. It's that big because just the ground floor is like. What I want to tell you guys, it was like 4 million square feet. I mean, it's huge. The only one that's bigger is Boeing. The only building that's bigger is Boeing and Tesla.
Sure.
That's it.
Okay.
So it's bigger than anything else.
So
And where is
it's
it?
bigger than ours?
Texas, Houston.
Texas?
Bigger
Yeah.
than what we got out
So it's
there?
bigger than our
Oh
warehouse?
yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
They also produce a lot of the refrigerants that they're going, and there's a lot of changes that are going on. They make their own inverters. I mean, they do everything except for the actual compressor motor, and then one other thing. They basically produce everything else. So they have lifetime unit replacements on anything. I think it's from 2019 going forward for critical components, compressors, and heat exchangers. They have 10 years on parts, but the lifetime heat exchanger and compressor, especially on 16 SEER and above, is what that's for. If it doesn't have the lifetime, it's going to have a 2-year replacement. Okay, so either a lifetime unit replacement on the
Their
Heat exchanger compressor.
exchangers are sometimes 20 years too.
yeah. Well, right now they're saying
It's
lifetime.
like 20-year or lifetime, because I gave them a call yesterday to get a 16-SEER quote for a full system replacement, and I said, so what are my warranties? And they told me that the furnace itself, the parts is 10 years.
Right.
The heat exchanger is 20 years. The condenser the condensing unit's lifetime.
Okay.
But for little knick-knacky things, those are that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the coil and the compressor.
Right.
And the compressor, because that's the stuff that's expensive that goes out.
Exactly.
The rest of it, you can get universal modifications. You can do updates. You can trade it out easy.
Right, and it's 10 years on those parts though. So
Right.
I mean, when you guys go to a home, and I know Sarah should know this answer out of anybody in here, maybe Ryan as well.
No idea.
Where is the best place where 70% of things are sold in a home?
Kitchen table.
Kitchen table, right?
In the
Kitchen
car.
table.
At the front
Okay.
door.
So
In the bed.
That's the second most.
Okay, let me see.
Things are sold.
So when you're giving an option for a customer on anything large in particular, okay, so I was talking to Ryan about this just yesterday, I think it was, when he was talking about that system. But when you're giving options to a customer, at the kitchen table preferably, how do you present the dollar amount? How should you present the dollar amount to a customer? Let's say it's a $10,000 system, or double tankless, water heaters, whatever it is. It's a large dollar amount. Anything over $1,000, really. What
You give them a month.
you give them a monthly payment every single time. Always, always, always,
Start
always.
with a monthly payment, and if they ask for what is it, if we
If I
give
pay
a check.
cash, if I pay for a check or pay for cash, is there any kind of discount? You can always do that afterwards, but you should always, always, always give a payment. There's a lot of payment calculators out there, and if you guys just look in Service Titan, it shows like the 5 plans that we have, from the 0 interest for 12 months, no payments, with payments, 6 months a year, or low interest payment at 6.99 or whatever they are. When you look at those payments, it's really easy. There's payment calculators all over the web, and I just pulled one up on my computer. It took me like 10 seconds. Oh, here's the payment calculator. Put in the interest rate, the amount, the total amount that you're selling it for. You guys can download that on your iPad, and you can go in really quick. Even if House Call Pro or Service Titan doesn't give you that, you can give an estimated payment to a customer like that. I mean, it's like putting in 4 numbers and then hit send or hit, enter, and it throws what the monthly payment would be for however many years you want to go. And in Service Titan, it tells you those plans, how long they go for, what interest rate they are, if there's 0, if there's payments, if there's not. It tells you even the payment factor, so you can understand that. But basically, if I were to go to a customer and say, hey, for $250 a month, maybe it's for 60 months, right? But you got a lifetime warranty, or you got a 10-year warranty on parts on this thing, and plus the condenser and the coil on it are going to have a lifetime warranty on it. So really, it's an investment in your home. It's an investment. You're going to get this, and this. It's a lot easier to bundle things too. So maybe they need a tankless, and they need a heater, and they need an air conditioner, and they need whatever. You start adding those things up, and the dollars are high because a lot of customers. Usually, if they have a spouse, they're going to want to involve their spouse on high dollar amounts. However, most people, 90% of people, they did a study and they were showing us all the numbers and their big graphs. They did a study, 90% of people, their monthly payment is the most important thing. That's how all of us shop. But we don't think that way when we're out there necessarily with the customer a lot of times. We're just thinking, okay, well, I got to go out and tell them that it's $3,000 or $6,000 or whatever, So, but if you were to go to a customer and say, well, I can get you this, install this tankless water heater for as low as $129 a month, and they look at that payment more than they look at that dollar amount. So that's a huge thing for you guys just to understand and know that financing is huge for people. And if you just mention the word financing, that's not going to help them. What's going to help them is that dollar amount per month that they know that they're going to have to spend. And then you have to build the value, though, that whole time prior to even give them that dollar amount, tell them what you're going to be able to do for them. I'm going to be able to get you this high energy efficient tankless water heater that's going to get you instant hot water to all your fixtures within so many seconds. I'm going to get you this high energy, furnace that's going to be able to do this, this, and that. I'm going to change your ductwork out to do this. Or I'm going to get you a ductless Daikin system. Whatever it is that you're going to get them, you add all that, talk all the benefits that they're going to have from getting these things, showing the value of that. I'll be able to get it done in this much time for a low monthly payment of X. That sounds a lot better than, well, yeah, here's the price, $12,000 or $18,000 or whatever the heck it is. That sticker shock, they're just thinking, where am I going to come up with $18,000? But if they only got to think about, I got to come up with $250, $150 a month, I could afford that. I can put that in my budget. That's how people think. So think about that when you guys are out there, especially with the higher dollar amount stuff. But even something that's, if someone starts balking at a price and you are putting $1 out there at $600, $800, hey, we do have financing, and if there's anything else you can do, we may be able to bundle this and give you a really affordable monthly payment. There's things you can do that way as well. But that high payment up front is going to really turn people off. You give them that monthly affordable payment right up front when you're talking about that high dollar thing, it's going to make a huge, huge difference. So, like I said, they did these big graphs on there. You should have seen the size of their TVs. I mean, they were they were projectors, but they were huge, and they had them on 2 sides of the room. So no matter where you were sitting in the room, in the back or the front, it was like you're in a movie theater, right? But they're graphs that showed how many people actually bought, because they did all these different tests in different markets. And some of these markets blew me away because they are markets where the average income is like a quarter of what it is here. I mean, it's 20 grand a year people are making. And they're spending $8,000, $10,000 on systems. But it wasn't, they weren't going in and saying $8,000 or $10,000 is what the system's costing them. They're saying, hey, it's $119 a month, and it was going for 5 years or for 10 years. Or, it doesn't matter the term. If you give them the lowest monthly payment, or you can give them options. Here's, I can do it from this much for this many months, this much for this many months, this much for this many months. You give them those options of those low monthly payments, you're going to get something. And they're going to say, well, I really can afford 150, because they were doing this thing where, how they have the good, better, best, basically, okay? If they had their premium system, same type of thing on the HVAC side, to their low-end, economical type of thing. And they were showing people, it was really funny because the lowest price one, had a highest interest rate. So the payment on that one was like $20 more than the next one up, the middle one. Because they went longer term but a lower interest rate, right? So if you have a higher interest rate and a lower term compared to even a longer term and a lower interest rate, or even a higher interest rate, sometimes that payment can be $20, $30 less a month. So they were basically doing it like that on purpose, so the customer didn't choose that economical brand. They at least did the middle one because they saw the value. It was less per month. They had to go a few extra months, even 6 months or a year longer, but the payment was lower. And that's how people shop, with that payment. Mm-hmm. So you guys just have to kind of get that in your head, because tomorrow's meeting is going to be in Aliso Viejo. So I sent you guys all of you guys an email. If you haven't looked at your company email, because you don't look at them very often, look at them for all the texts. That is in Aliso Viejo. They wanted to have it down there. They asked me if we could do it down there, and I go, well, I guess.
Is it in their shop?
It's at their Aliso Viejo shop, yeah. That building.
Pacific or?
Yeah, Geary Pacific.
Okay, all right. Because I've never been able to sign into my email.
Okay, well, should be able to. Okay, so
Are we coming here first, or we're gonna meet there?
you guys, as far as I'm concerned, you guys can just go straight there. The thing, I want everybody to be there by no later than 7:45.
Okay.
So if you want to come here and get coffee in first, then you got to get down there. I'm not sure how long traffic takes to get down there. It's going to start at 8 o'clock sharp. So I'm asking everyone to be there at 7:45, so you're not late, because I don't want them to have to start anything over. It's really important that you guys go to this, because it's going to talk about how we're going to be doing changes as a company to help us grow. So you guys, it'll benefit everybody. Okay, what else? So they're also going to, I'm going to be going into later on about extended service plans that Amana offers on 2-stage and up, and you guys will get more of that as I get in there. Let me see what else. Okay, so 2023, there's some regulations that are changing in the air conditioning part of the industry as well that I didn't even know, and I really couldn't. The technical side of it, that's where I probably challenged in this whole meeting. I learned a lot of stuff and a lot of terms, but I'm telling you, I'm not a technical guy when it comes to HVAC. So, but they were talking about a lot of regulations that are changing. So what I'll do is I'm going to get a PowerPoint presentation that I can go over with you guys. But there's stuff going like, basically the SEERs are going up on a lot of things. Is really what's happening, and going up like 1 SEER. Okay, so like heat pumps, they talked about 15 SEER going to 8.8 HSPF, whatever the heck that is. Mm-hmm. So anything under 45 BTUs, 15 SEER. They're having 2 different types of SEERs now. So now like let's say you have a 16 SEER, they're going to have something called a SEER 2. Which is like another version of it with a different rating, which is actually more efficient, but the number will be lower. So it's like a SEER 2, like a 14 SEER will be like for SEER 2 will be a 13.4, for an example, in the SEER 2 rating. You understand what I'm saying? Sure. So and like for 15 SEER,
14 SEER with a different type of motor that makes it more efficient.
Right. So for the SEER 2, it's going to be a 15 SEER will be a 14.3. So they're going to this new system in 2023. The stuff is coming up. They're also going to change the refrigerant. And
you think a new one?
Yeah. So because so what they found out is because of you guys have ever heard of GWP, global warming potential. So why did they take R22 out?
Wow.
They took R22 out because of the ozone, right?
Versus
what it was doing to
GDP,
the
now we
ozone.
have GWP?
Yeah. So global warning potential, they have, something has to be under 750 parts per million or whatever the heck it is. And right now, the R410A is over 2,000. So they have a couple of different refrigerants now that they're looking at. There's an R3 and an R45, 454B, and they have really low GWPs. So anyway, they're called A2L type of refrigerants that are considered mildly flammable. So they're currently used in refrigerators. So those are mildly flammable, but they have a really low GWP.
Makes brazing really difficult.
Yeah.
They're a lot better.
So,
They're a lot better off just blaming the dinosaurs for fucking up the
well, I think they blame the cows for things too.
Yeah,
So.
we should have let them die off years ago.
Those things weigh what, like thousands
But
of tons each? You
the
don't think
difference-
you don't think they polluted the ozone a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah, the difference is
Our cloud are disappearing too.
they do have restrictions on the A2Ls as well, but Amana themselves is going back and forth between two different refrigerants because one of the refrigerants, I think it's R32, once you put that in, if you have an issue, a leak or a small little leak, you can just add a pound of it and be fine, as opposed to the other refrigerant that they're looking at, you'd have to suck it all the way out, throw it away, or dispose of it properly, and then add all new refrigerant. So it'll be more costly for the consumer. Of course, we'd have to charge more as well. But Amana's trying to do it the least expensive way for the consumer, so if there is a leak, not only is it better for the environment, but they are going to be able to just add a pound if needed after you fix the leak. So that's what they're working at, and they're trying to get all of the actual final, because all of that stuff hasn't been finalized on what the restrictions are, but they know right now Amana's trying to get ahead of the game, and they're trying to, because if you saw the facility, you'd understand what I'm saying, being ahead of the game. I mean, even their, just the way that they do their products and their aluminum coils, they have almost like all aluminum coils, and of course their stainless steel patented groove design coils. It's just, they're doing a lot of stuff that's kind of, their heat exchangers, their gas exchangers, steel gas exchangers, the stainless steel. And they have this kinked technology that doesn't thin the walls like the clamshells do, and they're not, the way that they put them together is, it makes the gas mix better when it goes through that, and all this other good stuff. So I mean, they really showed us a lot of stuff that made sense, but they're really trying to stay a step above everybody else, and they're trying to make sure that compared to everybody else, they have that advantage of, the best of the best. Okay. And I told you guys that they tested stuff that, when they do these testing, they have this little testing room where they test these furnaces. They turn them on and off and on and off and on and off and run them to the highest temperatures and so on and so on. And the testing that they've done over so many years is worth 250 years of actual usage in a home. And they haven't failed. So they have a really, like 96% success rate on no leaks, nothing on their systems, which is by far, from the statistics we saw in other companies that have public information, it's way better than anybody else. So that's why they're able to give that lifetime warranty and so on and so on. There's something called Comfort Bridge, and I kind of mentioned the other day. What it does is, Amana is allowing you to choose the control on any single stage, 24 volt, only using 2 wires between the indoor and outdoor. Okay, so that means you can use, it's basically a 24 volt bus design. There's no limitation with Wi-Fi or what can be connected. You can other accessories can be connected as well, so it gives you a lot of flexibility. There's no limitations to zoning, all of that stuff with their Comfort Bridge system. And it even has a Cool Cloud app that allows you to do everything from your phone, using your smartphone, when you have that type of device attached to it. So, and the app is free, you don't have to pay for it or anything else if you're a customer. So it gives a lot of flexibilities to all of their systems that have that Comfort Bridge system. So just kind of letting you guys know, as we learn more about Amana and everything else, it's a pretty good system. I'm actually really glad that we're deciding to go this way. because hopefully we won't have the issues like we did with all the Lennox stuff, that we're having all these coils that are going out and we're having to go spend $1,800 to get another one and then get reimbursed a few weeks later. It's a pain in the rear. So, those are the things with that. I think if there's anything else, I think I went pretty much over mostly everything on here. So, okay, yeah. That's the stuff that I wanted to go over. Anybody have any questions? Comments, questions? All right, cool. Well, that's all I have, guys. Thank you. Don't forget purchase orders. I need to make sure they're done right.